Hey y'all, welcome back to Flo's World. Don't all this brown look cute? How are you guys doing? I hope you're well. You know when you get them fresh braids and they kind of like, not itch, but like you just kind of want to just like. Oh my god, the first time I got these, the girl did them, I told her to do it like how I have them right now. But instead of this way, she went down. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I had her redo it. I asked her to redo it. Because one thing about me, if something is not to my liking, it's just not going to keep cooperating. It's just not going to keep working out for me. But today, I want to talk about something really, really interesting. I'm taking some Motherworth. Tinctures. But what I wanted to talk about today is this concept of like, I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine from class the other day, and while we were talking about whatever we were talking about, was just kind of like their relationship to their family and people that they're around, and how they just kind of need to be patient with them as they kind of maneuver through understanding kind of where they're coming from. And honestly, to me, in my opinion, I feel like we give close people in our proximity too much fucking grace sometimes. Like, if niggas don't understand the thing that you're trying to help them comprehend, it's one thing to be like, okay, maybe you just need a grace period and I'm gonna have that moment with you. But I feel like a lot of us actually postpone our progress, our potential, our purpose for the sake of this desire and this want to have people come along with us. And I don't blame you. Like, I've been in positions in my life where I'm like, damn, in this evolution of my own life, it's beautiful to witness this for myself, but also at the same time, I would have loved it if, I was able to share this moment with people who I also love. But sometimes the irony of it all is the people that you want to come along on the ride with you can only come if they really want that for themselves, And people have to decide that for themselves. But when you make people coming on the journey alongside with you your responsibility, that's when you actually like sabotage yourself of the experience and then overburden yourself with shit that ain't even your business or your job, when you could have used that energy to focus on bettering yourself and your craft and the place that you're headed in this evolution that they're also coming along with you. And in the conversation, one thing that really stuck with me was kind of this concept of like, also how much of ourselves are we putting into the back burner because we are trying to show up for people and try to meet them where they're at and meet them in their needs and desires or whatever, But at some point, like for me, in my own experience, I have to really come to a conclusion in my life where it's like, if we're all in a boat and I'm the one steering the boat and I'm trying to get y'all to understand why we're steering the boat so that we can pedal faster and get to our destination faster, and y'all don't conceptualize it, I'm gonna get that fucking dead weight out of my boat. Because if it's gonna be me rolling that fucking boat, I might as well do it with all that less fucking weight. But a lot of people will be okay with carrying that weight in the name of, oh, they're my family. Oh, but they're just my friend for 12 years. Oh, but they're my sister. Oh, but we're good coworkers. Oh, we have this. Like, girl, if they don't love you enough to also help make that change with you or not be a burden or a fucking load in the thing they're trying to cultivate, then you gotta go. You really gotta go, And the reason why I say that is like, I'm not even trying to be like a disheartening person, but also a lot of us don't accomplish the things that we do want to accomplish because we are always trying to carry other motherfuckers, when really sometimes the only thing you need to be carrying is yourself to the next stages of your life. And maybe when you get there and you're far deep into whatever you need to go and you're success and thrived in that, maybe you can go back and then pick up a few extra other people who may just need that extra guidance. But when you make it your sole responsibility of like, I can't do this without you. And honestly, this also leads me to another point of like, a lot of us also want greatness and want to tap into our potential and our purpose. But at the same time, we sabotage the experience because in a way we are codependent to relationships in whatever way that they play out. And a lot of us will disguise this idea of codependency as care when really you just don't know how to pop your shit all by yourself. And honestly, I don't care whether you have support or not. Learning to pop your own shit on your own is going to get you far in life, because you're not always going to have supporters. Even if you grew up with support, it's good to have that healthy foundation of like knowing what it looks like to have support in the pursuit of your excellence. But at the same time, can you still stand 10 toes down for yourself when that support isn't there? And that's why I always say, like, learn how to stand 10 toes down by yourself, for yourself, regardless of who's applauding for you. And as long as you can applaud for yourself, then really anything shouldn't matter, and everything else just becomes a bonus to that. But where was I adding to this? I'd be so excited sometimes. But also in my videos now, I'm not going to be editing them because, bro, fuck all that. Like, I think what we're all craving is a little bit of honesty. And for me, like, ever since I also taken the lid off of how I express myself, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to bring myself as who I am, the easier and more funner this is for me. So I won't be cutting my videos. I won't be like saying, oh, I'm going to take that part out because I wasn't perfect, when really it's like, what the fuck is perfect? But anyways, going back to what we were talking about, one of the things that I will say I was able to pick up in my upbringing as somebody who didn't really have such great support system is realizing this idea early on, you know, and like why, yes, some things start off as like a trauma response and realizing like you just don't have that dependability on other people. But also people who do have that support all the damn time becomes codependent, or sometimes you can be codependent because you didn't have that support. But just being mindful of that, of like codependency is actually not cool, and sometimes support can sabotage the experiences when you are codependent because you never learn to stand on your own. And then if you've been standing on your own, it's good to stand on your own, but also know how to receive help, and you can sabotage experiences that way. But it's just like levels to this shit, you know. But ultimately, what I really wanted to press on this issue about why, like, you shouldn't wait on people to understand or conceptualize or make changes in their life the same way you are, or maybe at the same speed that you are. And the thing for me is like, bro, I grow and like evolve so fast. Like, I'm literally like a chameleon. Like, I'm always changing. Is that what it is? A chameleon that changes colors and camouflages? I'm literally like that though. Like, that's how I view myself in a way. And like, I'm always adapting and changing. And sometimes it's hard to keep people around me because it just seems like niggas are so stagnant, you know? And I'm just kind of like, do y'all not have any desires to want to grow or try new things in life, or like find new perspectives of looking at things? And some people don't. And for me, it's just kind of like I outgrow a lot of people really fast, and I just be like, yeah, deuces, gotta go, you know? Because confining yourself to spaces you have outgrown, whether that places or it also being people, is not gonna do you good, you know? It's like confining yourself to a box. If this was a fucking little box and you've been a little fly in this container, it's gonna seem really big. That space in there seems really big. But then if you were to grow and you were a little hamster, it feels really confined in this, you know, because you've outgrown it. And then imagine saying, oh, well, this is all I've known since I was a little baby guinea pig, and yes, I grew, but I want to stay confined. It's like, yeah, but there's really no way for you to maneuver and tap into the possibilities open for you because you're confining yourself to this when all of this is open to you. So when people don't understand that sometimes like we're subconsciously using relationships because we're codependent, and we're using these relationships as a way to say it's support, but really we just are afraid to face ourselves and be honest and be like, you know what, I don't know if I really like so-and-so around me, or if I just keep them because I don't know how to be by myself, or I don't know if I really like being this person's friend, or I just don't know how to maneuver my own way and figure out life on my own, so I just kind of like that little crutch. And this is not me saying that like you can't need people and support, but there's a difference between desiring that and like a community and stuff and people to hold you, and then needing them and depending, and like it becomes a codependent thing where you can't even function without that. Like, that is a red flag, you know? You should be able to stand 10 toes down by yourself, for yourself, and everything else should just be an extra. It's a bonus. But if you feel like, oh my God, the minute it's all on me, it's a misery, I'm like, no. And then also, the other thing is, like, I also think about how many people withhold or dismiss the experience that they can have with themselves about how to foster their gifts and their purpose. And instead of using that time to figure out what your purpose and your gifts are, low-key, you're trying to like wait for people around you in your vicinity to come to the realization that you've reached for yourself. And this is the thing, like, everybody has a different timing in conceptualizing consciousness, because all awareness is in like us waiting, the people that are waiting for people to step up and rise up, you're just basically saying, I'm waiting for them to awaken to this level of consciousness. But also, the minute you realize that this consciousness does exist, but it's not always going to be on the same timing with everybody, it relieves you a little bit, you know, and you start to kind of take people and their experiences and the way that they live their life as just, that's where their understanding of conceptualizing consciousness and awareness is. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I become responsible and then try to help them figure it out, you know? Sometimes, no matter how you feed that motherfucker or try to show them, they're just not going to get it, you know? It's kind of that concept of, you can take a fish, I mean, you could take a horse to a pond, but you can't make it drink, you know? It's on them to drink it. You can put that and be like, okay, I need you to understand this is this and this is what I got to do. Like, if it's not their time to conceptualize it and really want that for themselves, they're not going to get it. It's just a waste of your time, you know? And this is where I also say it's really important that you don't waste your time on people who are in our close vicinities and trying to like help boot them up to where we are, when really you could just be using that for other things. And the other thing is, going back to the whole gift thing, I feel like the time you could be using to develop your purpose and your gifts to better yourself and be a better you could serve humanity better, you'll be wasting it on waiting for them. What the fuck is that gonna do for you? You know, you're better off just you go focus on your own gifts, you know, and in their own time and in their evolution, they will come to the consciousness of what they need to realize, and maybe y'all can work side by side or collaborate on things. But I also feel like waiting on people sometimes robs me of the gift that I and the potential that I have to bring to the world, you know, because all that time that I'm using to pour into you and try to help you understand something, I could be using it for my own benefit and things that will feed back into me. And the thing is, bro, when you give and extend yourself to people, it's good to do it from a place of like not needing anything in return, you know, like to freely give. But if you are also expecting something back, I feel like the best person to invest it in is yourself, because you always know there's an ROI in anything that you give to yourself, you know. It's an investment that you reap the harvest of. But other people, you don't know that, you know, because you don't control how they use the thing that you've given to them. And sometimes, should we really put that much responsibility on ourselves about how they use it? You know, or should you just give something and be like, okay, you decide for yourself what you want to do with it. And how you use it is none of my business, because the way that I would have used that, I already used it in the way that I did it when it was my turn to use it in that way. And I reaped my benefit. But again, clinging on to people just doesn't do anything, you know. And a lot of us do that. Like when I have a lot of conversation, and I'm not gonna lie, like I also have to interrogate some of these things for myself of like, how am I making myself responsible for other people's lives when that's not even my job, you know? And in what ways can I pour that power back into myself and use it to fuel myself and my ambitions and my desires? And I'm not gonna lie, the reason why I also say this is because I think a lot about my positionality, and in a lot of the ways that I form my analysis of the world, it's of course through observation, but also through lived experiences, and also how I relate to the world and the positionality that I live in. And when you come from environments and dynamics in family dynamics or just community ways where the way that you interact with each other, you're expected to kind of be everything for everyone and nothing for yourself. And it's just kind of like, no, you don't actually, you're not owed the right to take care of yourself, or only be aware of, or even be aware of your own needs, or tend to yourself in these ways. You're always an object that is supposed to offer labor and services to other people. You know, whether that's partaking into capitalism or systems of colorism and dynamics of colorism, or fatphobia or desirability politics or patriarchy or misogyny, like all of these ways seep into the dynamic in which the world relates to you. And sometimes you are taught to cater to other people and serve other people and help other people before you even help yourself. But really coming to this notion in my life, especially as a Black person, an African person, you know, of like why it's not selfish when you actually put yourself first, and why it's self-full. Like, it's not selfish, it's self-full to put yourself first and say, you know what, if I'm going to have to be responsible for anything, I'm going to be responsible for myself first. And I can only be of help to people when my cup is full, and not only that, but also overflowing. And from the overflow of this abundance and this love that I'm pouring into myself, then I might be able to extend that care to myself. And anybody who gaslights you out of that experience and says, oh, like, yourself full of yourself because you only cater to yourself, that's guilt and projection, you know? They probably have their own internalized shame around receiving and saying, you know what, I actually don't want to do this for you. I'd rather pour that energy back into myself, because a lot of us do navigate a lot of the same systems and structures, and we are all conditioned in a way, and sometimes we will gaslight each other of experiences that we're working so hard to come out of. For example, the way that plays out is like, you know, when you are the person who chooses to say, actually, like, I am not responsible for grown-ass motherfuckers, you know, like, why can't y'all take the necessary steps to take care of your business, you know? But when you feel like it's my job to take care of you, what I just lost my train of thought, but what contributes to that, you know? So it's just really interesting stuff. And for me, honestly, a lot of it has been coming to the realization of like learning to take my power back, you know? I have been raised in dynamics that told me to be codependent, or to put myself in the back burner and dismiss all of the things that I want and desire for myself so that I can help do that in somebody else. And a lot of the time, it's not even people in my own positionality, you know? That's the fucked up thing about it. Like, if my energy, if it's going to be extracted in that way, was used towards other marginalized people and not the ones holding the position of power in that dynamic between me and them, I'd have been like, all right, at least it's still the powers for the people, you know? But when my labor and contribution is extracted out of the means of hierarchy and levels to this shit, and oh, because you're a woman, or because you're dark skinned, or oh, because you're plus size, or oh, because, you know, then it's just kind of like, yeah, actually, fuck those rules. Honestly, I don't care for those rules, and I'm not gonna confine my reality because of those fucking goofy ass rules. And also, the other thing that I will say is, like, when I look back at my reality too, yes, there was that guilt of like, I want better, but also I want the people along with me to come. And like, sometimes I did feel guilty about times where I even went away for college, because it's like, I am living a life where I'm doing things that not a lot of people in my lineage were able to do. And on top of that, being a woman, you're a girl, talking about you want to move away from the house without even being married, like, it just felt unthought of. So it's like, I'm taking big risks, but at the same time, there's this fear that's attached to it, because, oh, this is what I was saying of how we can gaslight each other. When I am taking that leap of step to be like, you know what, well, yeah, you are right, a lot of women in our lineage have not been able to get opportunities like I have in my life right now. But that doesn't mean I sit back and put myself on the back burner like women in my lineage and just confine my reality to that, when I'm given an opportunity to do something different. But then the minute you do something different, this is how sometimes the collective or other people will gaslight you and be like, oh, you think you're doing with, like, why would you do this? You're bringing shame to the culture, like shame. But it's just kind of like that mirroring aspect of like, bitch, if you had dreams, I know you would want the same goddamn thing. You know, you would want to get the fuck out of here to go live your life and go live your dream. But the fact that I had the courage to do that and I'm willing to follow through on that, when right now maybe support would have been nice, because this is not a normal dynamic built into the story for people like you and I. You know, that's the funny thing. It's always people in the same positionalities as you that, but I mean, I understand it, because it's like they've been also conditioned to those same type of thinkings. And when you don't really critically think or analyze your reality, you just conform. You know, you just assimilate and conform and think that's your livelihood and what's normal in your reality. But when you realize, oh, this is not actually normal, and I'm gonna be in search of what's normal, sometimes you will be gaslit by the motherfuckers who don't want to critically think and realize that there's something different. Because like I said, them having to do that will then mean they have to confront the reality that there is actually a different alternative. And that would change the whole dynamic of how they relate to life and this illusion that they've been living under, you know? So honestly, that's another reason why I say fuck that. Like, sometimes now in my life, like, I have no problem getting up and dipping out of experiences if it means like respecting myself. It took a long time to do that, and there was a lot of guilt that comes with that. Even when I was saying the example right now, like when I wanted to do better and go take on the experiences that were that, it felt hard because that's not been the narrative written for me. So when I did go, there was this guilt of like, damn, am I going against my family? Am I doing something terrible? But it's just kind of like, that was me rewriting the script and actually just saying to myself, like, there's nothing wrong. The only thing that feels wrong is you not playing into the narrative written for you, you know? And honestly, like, thank God that I did that, because sometimes keeping ourselves in environments that we want to stay in for the sake of other people, and that codependency sometimes just robs you of your experiences. If I continue to play into that guilt that's been like strangling and fucking choking the fuck out of me in my own pursuit of my own liberation, I would have still been there. I would have still been in those family dynamics, in those community dynamics, in those dynamics with people that were willing to just conform and assimilate and be like, this is just it, you know? I would have conformed to my own potential, to my own gift, to my own power, to the amazing revelations that I've witnessed over the years about myself, you know, and the beautiful experiences that I got to have, and the reawakening of my own fire again, because I'm being honest and I'm being bold and I'm being courageous for myself, you know? And this is why I say, honestly, if you want to do something in life, I would say do that motherfucking shit, even if it means doing it by yourself. That's one thing that I love about me. Like, I'm willing to abandon the whole world just to be like, nope, this is what I want to do. You know, I don't care if y'all niggas, you know, that picture, that'd be like, what's one thing you will stand by, even if this was the situation, it was this person and then the whole world? That's literally me. Like, I would never abandon my own soul. In this aspect of my life, I would never abandon my soul for anybody. Like, I don't care who you are and what you are and what you offering. Like, things don't like entice me. People don't entice me like that. Like, what entices me is being true to myself and my own authenticity and fulfilling my soul's desires, whether that means I go against the grain or with it. And most of the time I'm kind of going against the grain. So, and at this point in my life, I have learned, like, I've never really been average. Like, I've never liked average shit. I never inclined to the things that people just want to do. I've never just taken the path that everybody takes. I was always like, so what's over here and why can't we do this, you know? Critically thinking and analyzing my life. But anyways, I'm gonna keep this video short. So I hope you feel affirmed by it. I am, again, being a little whimsical in the way that I share myself with the world. And as I grow and also release shame out of my life, one of the beautiful things that I'm starting to realize about myself is I am less fearful and afraid of the way that I show up. And part of also like not wanting to edit my videos and just being honest, and like times where I'm like, oh, I lost my thought, or, you know, that's just me humanizing myself in the experience. If I try to perfect everything, then you're gonna have a perfect image of me that is really not authentic of me, and then I won't be humanized in the experience even between you and I over a screen, you know? So I think part of me building that integrity early on is just saying like, fuck it. Like, also, why would I want to waste so much goddamn time and storage and space that really, maybe those are the things that lead me to my procrastination sometimes, is trying to hyper edit myself in a digital world, when really authenticity is, girl, just be you. Turn that camera, be yourself all throughout it, and when you're done, just say bye, you know? And that's it. That's who I am, y'all. And in the process, like, hope we get to know each other. I mean, we gonna get to know each other, but also, I just hope you feel affirmed by that message. And if you're in this crossroad, in this point of your life where maybe you want to take that courageous step for yourself, baby, do it. You know that you are braver and stronger than you actually fucking think. And sometimes you really, I'm not even gonna lie to you, like, that's why I'm not afraid to go through the unknown and take experiences that I'm afraid of, because sometimes it's those experiences that help you understand you were actually built for this shit. Like, you can actually do this shit and more, you know? But until you go through those experiences, sometimes you won't know. The only thing that will help you understand what you know are the experiences that have been shaping you thus far, to even, that got you to the analogy or the conclusion of yourself right now, which is, can I even do this? You know, you don't want to be in a predicament of your life where you're questioning what you can and can't do. Take the experiences that directly and vividly give you that answer of like, I can do this or I can't do this, and maybe I need a little more practice, but let it be clear. But to get that clarity, you also need to be bold with yourself. You also need to go after experiences that help you differentiate the two of like, damn, I'm really built for this shit or I'm not. But if you're always scared and stuck or waiting for motherfuckers or trying to be the Captain Save-A-Ho or feeling guilty when you try that new thing, you're just gonna be with a whole bunch of dusties your whole life. Do you want that? I don't think so. So you gotta get to stepping, baby girl, baby boy, or baby it, or whatever, you know? You just gotta get to stepping for your life and shit. That's where the magic comes. So keep creating magic. I'll see y'all in the next video, whatever that is. Mwah.